Hello everyone. As you guys can tell from the title of this video, it's a little bit different. Today I'm gonna be giving some book recommendations, which is kind of crazy because, you know, I don't really read, but these books have really got me back into reading recently. So let's just get started into this video. So of course the main ones that I'm gonna bring up is these famous ones. I found them from TikTok. Of course, you know, the first one that I got from TikTok is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo. It is so good. So pretty much, of course, as the title says it, it's about Evelyn Hugo. It's kind of is like a memoir to her. It's a biography about her and her 7 husbands. It's really good. I loved it. I cried, and like the end, it was so good. I think I read this within a week. It took me a little bit because, you know, I'm not much of a reader, but once I like got through the middle, like that was it. I read like the rest within the day. It was crazy. I cried at the end, and it was just like so interesting because of like the fame and how realistic it seems. Like it really felt like you're in the story. So 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed this book and I loved it, and I would give anything to read this book again. Next book that I'm going to be talking about is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I cannot stress how much I loved this book. I read this book in a day, in 5 hours. Can you believe that? I don't usually like reading, and like this book, I swear to God, I was crying so much within it. Like it makes me so emotional kind of just like thinking about it again, and like oh my gosh, it was so good, and I just loved everything about it, especially like the business aspect that's in this book. With the main character, she does start like kind of her own business, which I really love because I am a business management major, so it kind of just gives me that perspective of business, and I really liked it because I was like, oh my gosh, that could be me one day. And again, just like the ending, it was really like sad, and I loved it, and like it has the true meaning to what It Ends With Us, and I was just bawling and I couldn't stop thinking about it for like the next week, and I wish I could again go ahead and read it for the first time. It was just like so good, and I loved it, and I need to buy more books by Colleen Hoover. I know I really want to read The Ugly Truth, so definitely recommend reading any of Colleen Hoover's books. I really loved it. This one is definitely a really good book, especially that I read it within a day. It's just really good. The next book that I saw through TikTok is Me Before You. They do have a movie about it, and I did watch the movie before reading the book, so it is very similar. I'm still reading it, but it's, from what I've read, it's really good. It is portrayed like kind of like the movie, but there's some parts that are really different, and I'm like, wow, interesting. Usually you're supposed to read the book before the movie, but of course I wasn't into reading by that time, so I watched the movie first, and so it's just like really interesting, and I loved it. I really like a lot of romance, so this does have a little romance, but I just love this book, and it's definitely a recommendation. The next books, these are more so like, I have 2 books that I read for school, but they really were emotional for me. I did cry within both books. The first book that I'll mention is Friday Night Lights. I do have little stickers because I need to take notes about it, but it pretty much talks about like a really small white town. Everybody knows each other, and it kind of just tells the journey about like everybody leaving and like coming back, and how like small town, like you can't really get out of it and stuff like that. So it's really interesting because it talks about like football and all that kind of stuff, and especially with my teacher or professor talking about it, it was great. The next one is called Shoeless Joe. They do have a film about it, Off the Field of Dreams, and it's really sad because it talks about this guy and his journey about like his dad and stuff, and like his brother, who he was no longer in touch with, and then like comes in touch with him again. And it talks about like how they bonded over baseball, and it was just really interesting. I really liked it. I also got really emotional at the end as well. It's just really sad honestly, but I really liked it because my family like kind of grew up around baseball. My younger brother plays baseball, so it was really interesting through this to see baseball, and I don't know, it was like a different emotional aspect because it wasn't like they were playing baseball. It was more so like, again, their family had a bond with baseball, so it kind of reminded me of my own family. The next book So y'all know I love Disney, and it was on sale at Barnes & Noble, so I ended up getting it. But it's The Hidden Magic of Walt Disney World, so it kind of just gives you some background information of Walt Disney World and like their secrets. So I thought it was really interesting because I learned more facts about Walt Disney World than I've ever known before. So definitely recommend this book if you're a big Disney fan and if you want to know more about their secrets and stuff like that. I've never been to Walt Disney World, so it's kind of interesting to see this kind of stuff and how like some things in here do relate to Disneyland, but not as much. But I really like those. But those are all the books that I have to recommend. I would definitely recommend the top 3 that I mentioned in the beginning because those were my favorite books that I've ever read, especially It Ends With Us. That book, I loved it so much. I still can't believe like I literally read it within a day. So I can't wait to read more Colleen Hoover books, and I definitely need to read more. Obviously this is just a short collection of my books that I do have, but hopefully you guys can start reading more just based on the recommendations that I gave you. And I hope you guys have a beautiful and great rest of your guys' day, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.